cutting back on the number of specialists or a reduction in numbers because those specialists are leaving in our public hospitals. So a double implication, one for the patients, the other for the generation of a new cadre of specialists in our hospitals. It's a story we're going to explore in some detail in a few moments' time. 10 to 5, we'll have Randall's One Song with Randall Abrams. At 5:45, a song, a book, and a dish. We're going to be in conversation with South African fast bowling legend, the cricketer Alan Donald. Really looking forward to that. Between that and now, we will take a closer look at what the ANC achieved at its National General Council. Did they find some sort of remedy to deal with the party's steep electoral decline? We'll get the thoughts of Business Day's political correspondent Thando Mayeke is my guest at about 5:15.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Dr. John, I think you are very optimistic thinking that the parliamentary building will be fixed. I mean, I'm from Ekurhuleni, and here in Benoni there is a Metro Police building. Somebody crashed through the fence a couple of years ago. Those Metro Police drive in there, park right next to that open gaping fence, and nobody has thought about fixing it. And just going into that building, you can also tell that nobody has also thought of doing touch-ups or cleaning or a new coat of paint. So I do think that you're very optimistic, thinking that the parliamentary building will be fixed anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that's deeply depressing. And I'm interested in, by the way, in another thread that pulls out of the little cloth you weave for us there, describing quite vividly, I think, what happened at the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department premises. If you work in government or if you work in the private sector, I mean, I think it applies equally to both. But if you work in a place where you feel the management couldn't care what the place looks like, feels like, what it's like to be there, then I think you get significant dents in what should be your real expectations of people's productivity and commitment to the project that you're all supposed to be embarked on. So, yeah, I mean, maybe those cops drive in and they ignore it, but they may be thinking, well, we've got other jobs, we don't fix this. And gradually you feel that the person who employs you couldn't be bothered to fix what is broken around you and broken around them. And I would have thought that's pretty demoralizing. Maybe you want to add a layer to that, whether you work in government or elsewhere. Tell us, if you're dealing with a situation like that, how's it affected your motivation? 4
EWN Traffic.
EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways, with added holiday flights to Lagos, Accra and Sao Paulo, giving you more choice and better timing. Book today at flysaa.com. Charlene Leroux, good news, I hope, but whatever it is, keep it real. Good afternoon.
No, not good news, especially if you're on the N1 South, because that earlier crash involving multiple vehicles at Buccleuch interchange, that's still obstructing the centre lanes, and that's still causing delays from Allendale Road. And just after Olifantsfontein, there's also a crash, and those vehicles are on the left shoulder. And on the N3 North, there's also a crash that's in the centre lane before Van Buren Road, and there's a stationary truck that's in the centre lane, and that's just after Van Buren Road, so you can expect delays. If you're on the N12, just after Tom Jones Street, there's also a stationary vehicle with one lane closed, and there's heavy traffic, and that's moving through Galuli's interchange. More Eyewitness News traffic in 15 minutes.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Check in, take your seats, stretch out, sip something special and feel the holiday mood kick in long before you land. At South African Airways, every moment on board is designed to ease you into that holiday feeling. This summer, fly to Gaborone from 2,694 Rand all-inclusive return. And with an allowance of 3 check bags, you can take everything you need for the perfect escape. This offer is valid for sale until 31 March 2026. Book at flysaa.com or contact your nearest travel agent. At South African Airways, your holiday starts when your flight does.
702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
So based on what you have shared, how would a person know that they need to cleanse, or is it something that they just would do regularly?
Generally, to cleanse is something that you should do to keep yourself spiritually hygienic. It's probably a little bit depressed. You know, when you're a positive person, you'll be able to tell that, you know what, it's a little bit more difficult for me now. You're compounded by negative circumstances for a consistent amount of time. That's when people start realizing that, no, something's changed.
Zandile Wamafu, spiritually known as Tando Lwako, who is a spiritual healer.
702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
This festive season, receive the gift of instant payment when you sell to We Buy Cars. Simply complete the form on webuycars.co.za for your offer. Then visit your nearest pod or branch or have them come to you. Wishing for a new ride? Discover thousands of affordable vehicles online or at any We Buy Cars branch. We Buy Cars, the jolliest way to buy or sell.
Mzansi, walala wasala. Panda Pusha play Powerball for the massive 83 million rand guaranteed jackpot this Friday and step closer to a world of endless possibilities. Get your lucky numbers ready and play Powerball for the guaranteed 83 million rand jackpot today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda Pusha play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. eTuba is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Some numbers bring instant stress, like a speeding fine, another petrol price hike, or that one debit order you forgot about, again. But not all numbers bring panic. Some bring calm and actual life-saving support. With 24/7 emergency support and over 300 ambulances, ER24 is there when you need us most. Don't wait for an emergency. See it, say it, save it. 084 124.
Start your summer days with healthy sleep from Dial-A-Bed and save thousands with our summer sleep savers. Our queen-size 40-wing Sleep Tribe Pro firm set is reduced to only 7,999, and our Sealy Skyline Extra Firm Queen set is now only 13,499. Or get a king size for just 17,999. Dial-A-Bed, sleep for life. Now reopened in the Park Meadow Centre opposite Eastgate Mall.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
The sectors that will create jobs, are we seeing more confidence there?
If you look at manufacturing and you look at a medium-term trend and you see the increases that we see in manufacturing, in construction, the volumes of retail sales, there's not much of a movement there actually away from the longer-term trend that wasn't very good. So that is a challenge that we're actually facing.
Richard Downing, the economist who compiles the Business Confidence Index for the SA Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
The Money Show.
On 702. 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Invested in your story because your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, we've been asking you about how you manage children's expectations around this time of the year, whether it's Christmas gifts or holiday fun. It's not always easy to say no, but it can be ruinous if you keep saying yes. As Simon points out, just don't give out a lot, especially when you don't have, because that will raise their expectations. Give as little as you can afford. Children appreciate, especially when they are taught well. Give us your thoughts on that on 011 883 0702. Michael has this memory. I got a toothbrush in 2009. I was horrified. I grew up and now I want socks. Okay, Michael, I hope there's a sock in your stocking on the 25th, if that is indeed a holiday you celebrate. 4:19.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Right, a story on the Daily Maverick site caught my eye, partly because it was written by Eufrida Ho, who really is a terrific health journalist. But the issue that she highlighted is very, very important indeed. It deals with what she says is a drain out of the public health sector of important specialist doctors, not just because of the service they provide to patients, but because of their role in the training of the next generation of specialists. She illustrates this by saying 3 cardiologists have called it a day at Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital. In addition to that, 3 of the 4 ear, nose and throat specialists are also making their way out. Gauteng Department of Health, just to give you their response, say there's a full recruitment and selection process, and these posts will be filled at the start of the new year. I'm paraphrasing their exact words. It does seem, though, that there are some issues that need discussing, and for that, we're joined now by Dr. Ribone Tato Lesupi, who is the Deputy Chairperson of the Registrar's Committee of SAMATUs, that is the South African Medical Association Trade Union. Dr. Lesupi, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. I pointed to the role the specialists play, both with patients but also crucially working with registrars, as I understand it. What's the SAMATU perspective on whether specialists are being retained and properly used in the Gauteng health system? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John Perlman. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and also good afternoon to your listeners. John, we have a looming crisis. We can agree with that, but we are not at a crisis yet.
Okay.
SAMATU is currently working tirelessly with the Department of Health in Gauteng to make sure that this post will be filled. The Department of Health has actually already advertised for those posts to be filled in the beginning of the year. So it's just that we have to allow administrative processes to take place correctly and fairly, so that those posts are filled in properly before the end of the year. But in terms of that patient care being compromised, the thing is, yes, it will be compromised, but not to the degree of a crisis. Services will still be delivered, and us as SAMATU will make sure that the staff that is remaining, the specialists that are still remaining, are supported throughout this process of actually replacing the specialists that are continuing to leave the department.
Tell us, Dr. Lesupi, something about the role these specialists play in bringing through and skilling and building the confidence and capacity of the next generation of specialists. I assume you're somebody in that position if you're chairing the Registrar's Committee.
Yes, John, I am a specialist in training.
Okay.
I'm training in obstetrics and gynecology currently.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the specialists are there to actually guide us through the process of becoming specialists ourselves. And they are the ones that train us to make sure that we are adequately trained to handle patient care and also be able to work independently as specialists. So yes, they play a crucial role in our training as specialists. And having a shortage of specialists in terms of training the future specialists in the country does actually have a huge strain on us as specialists that are still in training, because of the fact that we'll only have so much exposure to few specialists, where we are losing a wealth of knowledge from the specialists that are exiting the department. So it does actually affect us. But SAMATU also, as a member of the Registrar's Committee also, we are ensuring that we are addressing the universities and the Department of Health or across all of the provinces, that we actually work to make sure that we standardize training platforms and make sure that training platforms meet the HPCSA accreditation standards to continue functioning. So that's why we are making sure we put in pressure on the Department of Health across the country to make sure that our training platforms are protected. So that's much work.
So I was just wondering, and thanks for that background, Dr. Lesupi. From your Frida's article, there seems to be a suggestion that even specialists go and posts are advertised and other specialists come in, but she seems to, based on her interviews, be saying that there are at least 2 issues that are quite structural and possibly fundamental. The one is what appears to be, I don't know if it's a dispute, but a mismatch around expectations about overtime pay on the one hand, because it seems there have been some delays in actually making those payments. And then the general concern about the state of the infrastructure in our hospitals, particularly where specialists are concerned. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, are those issues that perhaps urgently need addressing?
Yes, those issues do need to be urgently addressed because it is not fair on specialists to actually be expected to be running a training platform and also be rendering services, and yet they're not being paid for those services that they're rendering, especially when it comes to the overtime issue of that you are a specialist but you are not getting the payment that you need to have to actually be on call. It does not make sense. So that issue is being addressed, or in terms of payment. It was addressed actually towards the end of the year with the Department of Health about making sure specialists do get paid. Unfortunately, yes, the journalist does mention in the report that in the article that yes, one of our colleagues was actually not even paid for about 3 months, and so that's why the specialists get frustrated that okay, they have to go, and that's why Samati works to make sure that it addresses these issues with the department, with all the administrators that are involved in making sure that payments are done. And then with regards to the fact that there is issues with infrastructure issues and equipment, basically, is that yes, as a specialist, you will need access to certain technology to make sure that you can deliver a service. I mean, cardiologists or an ENT specialist have special equipment that they need. They need access to actually theaters to be able to deliver services. They need access to imaging to safely make sure that they are not actually giving inadequate treatment. So in those instances, yes, there are issues in terms of making sure that the infrastructure is well equipped to make sure that we can deliver our services. And also for us specialists in training to make sure that we learn gold standard practices. So those issues are there, but we are addressing them as Samatu. The department is aware of those issues. Unfortunately, the administrative processes that have to take place around making sure that infrastructures are actually put up to par take time, and our members also on the floor, they are not aware that these processes are frustrating even for us to make sure that the issues are dealt with. So it's a long process, and I mean, given the whole administrative issues that I'm sure you've seen, Mr. Perlman, in the media about the issues that have happened in terms of for the Gauteng Department of Health specifically.
Thank you so much. If you work as a specialist in any of the hospitals in the Gauteng Public Health Service, perhaps you're a registrar like my guest, Dr. Ripone Tato Lisupi, who joined us from the union. Samatu is studying to be a specialist, or training, I should rather say, in obstetrics and gynecology. We thank him for his time. But if you work in the system and you are a specialist or work with specialists, give us your take. What are you seeing? What is affecting you in the work that you try to do? 28 minutes past 4.
EWN Business.
Stephen Critters, a very good afternoon to you. Rand doing well, JSE doing well, oil price down. Can we all go home and take the money out from under the mattress?
It's green, it's green, they say on the JSE, John. The thumbs up wasn't just to say I was ready, it was to say, oh my word, look at all of this. So, the Rand strongest, 16.86 at the moment to the dollar. The gold price predictions last night on the Money Show that gold would soon hit $4,400. Well, it's not far off right now. It's around $55 off that. So it's storming ahead. Platinum going past $1,770. And the JSE All Share singing along happily to the tune. The JSE All Share up 1.44%, 113,737 points. Financials up 0.22, industrials up 0.8, resources up 3.57. Look at the gold price, John. Do I need to explain any more? RD gold up an astonishing 9%. Harmony is up 5.68. Goldfields up 4.9. The platinum shares doing very nicely too. Northam up 5. Valterra up 4. HCI having a storming week. They're up 6.92% at the moment. I must say though, Sappi is down 3.11. Richmond also down 2.6, and British American Tobacco down 1.85% on the day. Mondi also down 1%. John, an astonishing story on MoneyWeb this afternoon, and we'll actually speak to Ryk van Niekerk, their editor, on the Money Show tonight. They say that the Financial Sector Conduct Authority is investigating a complaint there may have been possible insider trading in the Yanni Milton Foundation's purchase of the Curo Schooling Group. So you remember everyone was talking about how big this was. They wanted to turn it into a non-profit. So MoneyWeb's saying there were 5 unusually timed transactions by 5 different entities in the 6 months before the announcement was made. Now, when the announcement was made, because it's a buyout, that pushed Curo's share price up by 60%. People who owned Curo shares would have made, well, millions of rand. I mean, 20 or 30 millions of rand. All of the beneficiaries say there's been nothing untoward about this. We'll get more from Ryk a little later. I think this is a very important story. I'll be very interested to see where it goes. We're still waiting. I think there's just one more regulatory approval for that deal as well. Let's just see where that sort of lands up. And then MTN announcing today Lloyd Mpahlele, the new head of their fiber business. He'll have to take on Vodacom and Massive after their merger. So I wish him luck. It's going to be quite a big thing. They've got deep, deep pockets. In the US, there was an announcement from Broadcom today, their results suggesting that, in fact, they were wrong. They were not wrong. They made lower future margins on AI system sales. In other words, they're making less money than they thought for their sales. That takes us back to questions about whether or not there's an AI bubble. The gold price, $4,344.61. Platinum, $1,774.70. Brent crude, $61.05 a barrel. And then the rand to the dollar, 16.85717, John. To the euro, 1978. To the British pound, 22.54. After all of that, I wish you a great weekend. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Let's get the very latest Eyewitness News now. It is 29 minutes to 5. Urali Kalinga is stepping up with the very latest. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The ANC's 12th Greater Tshwane Regional Conference is set to deliberate on the party's governing coalition in the capital. The ANC currently leads a coalition government in the municipality, which features Action SA, EFF and several other smaller parties. Aside from the election of new leadership, the ANC's 3-day conference will also discuss governance issues in the municipality. Thabiso Goba reports.
Following the removal of the DA-led coalition government in Tshwane, the ANC caucus wanted to put up its own member as mayor. However, it was overruled by its higher structures, who felt Action SA's Nasipi Moya was a better candidate than the one put forward by the ANC caucus. With about a year to go until the local government elections, there has been questions over whether the ANC caucus in Tshwane is happy with the current setup. ANC member in Tshwane MMC for Utility Services, Franz Boshielo.
Our coalition as well, we are going to also discuss about it because the current coalition, as we know, is very much stronger, and we are working very well with different parties that we are in coalition with.
Boshielo says the conference has the task of coming out with an election strategy that ensures the ANC regains its majority in Tshwane. Thabiso Goba, Eyewitness News, Tshwane.
The Public Works Department is starting from scratch to reinforce a dome tent that meant to serve as a National Assembly chamber. The process will happen while Parliament is being rebuilt after a New Year's fire almost 4 years ago. In October, EWN reported that skins of the tent had started to rip open, exposing the interior after the Cape winds battered the structure on a parking lot across from the parliamentary precinct. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
It's been a year since the Department of Public Works transported the mammoth dome tent in shipping containers from a warehouse in Pretoria to Cape Town. It was originally bought in 2013 for Nelson Mandela's funeral in the Eastern Cape. Construction work is now underway not only to reinforce the tent and improve its acoustics for plenary sittings, but also to connect it for electricity and sewage. Minister Dean McPherson says only after it was unpacked and hastily erected in January did it become evident that it had not withstood over a decade in storage as well as believed.
So we actually had to strip it back, and we've had to go and tighten every single bolt and screw to actually stiffen the frame and actually build in extra support there.
Public Works Director General Safisa Mdekane has been seconded to Cape Town to oversee the reconstruction and is receiving daily progress reports.
We've appointed a contractor at 25 million rand who's going to be completing the job. We're going to meet the deadline before the State of the Nation address.
The Department and Parliament are set to split the cost of the refurbishment. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Airports Company South Africa, or AXA, says it'll continue to work closely with the Border Management Authority and airlines to ensure strict adherence to South Africa's immigration and security requirements. This after the authority disrupted suspected human trafficking operations involving 14 Ethiopian and 16 Bangladeshi nationals at OR Tambo International Airport yesterday. The authority's Meme Mokhotsi says the interception followed analysis of passenger details which flagged their movement pattern as suspicious.
Investigations revealed a modus operandi commonly used in human trafficking syndicates where individuals attempt to transit through South Africa en route to neighboring countries and later re-enter South Africa.
AXA says it's committed to supporting and protecting the integrity of the country's ports of entry. And a CSR partnership between Primedia Cares and Tile Africa has marked the close of the 16 days of activism today with a donation to St. Anne's Home. The joint initiative donated beds and furniture to the gender-based violence shelter. This is the second donation this week after its contribution to included group homes for persons with intellectual disabilities. Social Development MEC Jaco Lund facilitated the handover, calling for greater private sector support.
But we need so much more. I mean, these shelters sometimes struggle to make ends meet, and we really need organizations, individuals to step up.
Head of Primedia Cares, Trish Taylor, says the partnership showcases how collaboration can drive meaningful change in our communities.
Partnerships like these, where media, corporate South Africa and government all collaborate to bring about meaningful change and drive a collective impact agenda. Primedia Cares, as a leading media company in South Africa, it's critical that we use our assets for social cause.
A cloudy Saturday with scattered showers and thunder showers in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows between 15 and 16 degrees, peaking around 23 and 24.
On the N12 West, there's a crash after Atlas Road with one lane obstructed. And on the N3 North, there's a crash in the centre lane before Van Buren Road.
The top story, the 12th elective conference for the ANC's Greater Tshwane region opened today following a failed last-minute bid to interdict it.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays
12 to 1.
On the Midday Report, every day from 12 to 1 p.m, we will bring you breaking news from the scene as it unfolds with newsmakers, reporters, commentators, experts and analysts. We'll explain the stories of the day, give you context for why they are important and what they mean for you. It is everything you need to know in 1 hour, from news to global events, business, sports, science, books and always some good news too. Appointment listening every day at 12 with the Midday Report.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries, a world-class team of 1,111 with one mission, awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate programs. The question isn't, can you afford to enroll? It's, can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
Enjoy the thrill of the Soccer Punters Challenge, Weekend Edition, an all-new platform from Hollywood Bets. You stand a chance to win a share of the 5 million rand jackpot when you bet 5 rand or more on selected EPL matches over the weekend and correctly predict 10 out of 10 winning margins. Or chase the share of the 50,000 rand leaderboard prize. Entry is free. Let this soccer season bring sizzling success. Bet now. T's and C's apply.
Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John, and all the listeners. John, a few years ago, the company that I was working for, we received the 13th check every year. And the tax look a lot, at that time of the year because everybody needs all their money. So they came up with a very brilliant idea, working with SARS and whoever else. And we were asked if we wanted to pay an additional tax every month. And then we'll get our 13th check tax-free the end of the year. And it wasn't a lot because they showed us exactly how much was deducted from our throughout the year and how much was supposed to be deducted from that amount of our 13th check. So it worked out good for us.
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, so earlier we were talking about 13th checks, bonuses of whatever kind, and the tax implications. And I just said, is there another way of doing it where maybe you don't necessarily save any money, but that's interesting that you can actually, at a time of the year when you need the cash most, not just December, but January comes hot on the heels. There's school fees, there's all the stuff of a brand new year. So I didn't know SARS would do that. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Any other tips? Send them our way. 19 minutes to 5.
EWN Sport.
Right, let's get the very latest sports news with Tato Muloto. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie says he won't comment on Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Broch's alleged racist and sexist remarks until he hears from SAFA and the coach himself. Broch was caught reprimanding former Orlando Pirates player Mbegezeli Mbogazi for not arriving on time for camp earlier on this week. These comments got political party UDM reporting the coach at the Human Rights Commission, and the Deputy President Ngaba Yomuzi Kwankwa wanted the coach to be held accountable and also to apologize.
The UDM is very clear insofar as this is concerned. We will not tolerate racism, we will not tolerate sexism or any form of discrimination from anyone in South Africa. So if Hugo Broch, for example, was quoted out of context or was misunderstood, what we expect for him is to account to the Human Rights Commission when the relevant body does its investigation on this matter.
And so we wait for SAFA and Hugo Broch to respond. There's Carling Cup action at the Moses Mabhida Stadium this weekend. Newly crowned knockout champions Orlando Pirates go head-to-head with All Stars. Kickoff is just after 3. Then it's 4 games that kick off in the Premier League tomorrow. Lot leaders Arsenal face Wolves, while Fulham meet Burnley and Liverpool are with Brighton. Good news for Chelsea. Cole Palmer and Wesley Fofana have been declared fit and available for their match against Everton at Stamford Bridge. In cricket, the Proteas women are travelling to East London tomorrow to open their ODI series against Ireland women. For the men, they pulled off a T20 series level at 1-1 after hammering India by 51 runs in their second match last night. Quinton de Kock was on fire, blasting a brutal 90 to drive South Africa to 213 for 4. And honestly, de Kock looks like he's hungry for more.
Now, coming back, this is actually what I missed. You never know what you have until you've lost it. That's kind of now coming back, where that renewed energy where I can play, where I feel I can play much longer than as what I thought as previously.
There's also rugby this weekend, Sasha Feinberg Mgomezulu heads into the Stormers Champions Cup clash with La Rochelle tomorrow, buzzing with confidence, fresh of being crowned SA Players Player of the Year. And this is what he told Rugby 365.
They understand what we try to do and how much work it takes to try up your game and push it and push it and push it, and to get recognition from them means everything. They're the guys we respect the most, and yeah, like I said, the guys that understand what goes into it. So to get their approval and a pat on the back from them is everything to me.
Sharks host the Saracens, while Sunday the Bulls are away to Saints. In the Challenge Cup, it is the Lions who are away to Newcastle Falcons and Cheetahs hosting Stade Francis. Tato Moloto, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 16 minutes to 5, let's get the very latest. Charlene Leroux watching the roads for you and me and all of us. Hi.
That's right, for everyone. It's looking better, but still a number of crashes to look out for on the N12 West after Atlas Road with one lane obstructed. And then if you're on the R24 East, there's a crash at Van der Linde Road, and that's slowing down traffic before Bradford Road. And if you're on the N3 North, there's still that earlier crash in the center lane. It's just before Van Buren Road. And then on Pretoria Main Road, a crash on the ramp to the M1 South. And if you're on the M1 South, there's also a crash. It's just before Caller Drive, causing delays. And there's still heavy traffic heading through Galuli's interchange, so allow for extra travel time. More Eyewitness News traffic in 15 minutes.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. So I guess appropriately out of the traffic, I've just got a very, very simple question. Where are you going? If you are on the road and not just going between work and home, or home and school, or whatever it is, or out to the mall, but you are packed and you're in the car and maybe you've got a couple of scuffed tins or some sandwiches you've made, or you've got a particularly favorite stop that you like on a highway or a byway where they make particularly good whatever it is that they make. It's that great feeling. We did it yesterday, by the way, and we asked you to choose a song. What's the song on your playlist when you finally cleared the traffic and, as they say in Grand Prix, you got clean air ahead of you? But the question here is simpler and different. Where are you going and why? So it might just be I'm going somewhere because I love the place and that's where I go to chill and relax, i.e. it's a holiday. Maybe you are heading for some family stuff. Maybe you're going home, that place you call home. So where are you going and why? Please give us a call on that on 011-883-0702 and 072-702-1702. Tatuada, are you hitting the road in the holiday period at all?
So I am hitting the road on the 5th and the 9th of Jan. So I'm heading all the way to Durban.
Okay.
And we're going to drive this one first time. So I'm excited, but also a bit nervous because I feel like I don't know what I have myself in for here. But I'm excited for it.
What are you nervous about? The other drivers or what?
I just don't know. Also, when you head to Durban, there's so much that can happen between Gauteng and Durban that it's a bit nerve-wracking because also it's my first distance drive over 3 hours.
Okay, well, it'll be definitely over 3 hours. So you're behind the wheel?
Yes.
No, man. You in and you driving with friends, family? What's the plan?
I am driving with friends, so we all are having a bit of a friends miss in January because everyone else is working in December.
No. The road. It's going to be fantastic. Are you going to do takeaways or are you going to pack lunch?
We are packing patkos. Luckily, we have a chef in our midst, which is always great.
Yes. Is there room in the car?
Oh, absolutely. There's always room for food. Always.
No, for me. Never. Of course, there's room for. No, so that's perfect. There are places where you can stop. You pull over, and you just got a view. Top of Van Riemen's Pass is one of them, but that's just one of them. And there's plenty.
How many times have you taken the drive?
I can't even count.
Okay, I'm excited.
Can't even count. My drive in January is going to be all the way from the Cape back to Johannesburg, which is much longer.
I'm
a
much
road
longer.
guy, but I'm taking 4 days, so it'll take a while. Okay, so Tato's heading for Durban, first time doing the N3. I'm assuming you're doing the N3, going with friends, and they're having a friends miss in the first week of January. What's your trip? Where are you headed? Where are you going right now? Some of you are on the road. I envy you. I will be joining you soon, but I hope the road is good to you. And In the meanwhile, tell us where you're going and why. 072 702 1702. It's 12 minutes to 5.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Okay, so we do this every Friday at this time. We call it Randall's One Song, and we spend our time with Randall Abrams, who picks out a song and tells us a little bit about the choice and about the music and the musicians, and he's with us now. Randall, a very good afternoon to you. I don't know if you've chosen your song because of the title. It's a summer thing. I'm not even going to try and say it properly. I hope that's reasonably good. But a very good afternoon to you. You're going 30 years back for this one.
Yes, John. So it's an anniversary, so 30 years ago. And I guess the other thing about it is it is a real summer jam, right?
Yes.
I mean, there are definitely going to be listeners out there that know it. I mean, the weather is right. It's that those few weeks before Christmas. I think a lot of people would have had maybe their Christmas party today or next Friday, and everybody's just in a great mood. And it's that kind of song. It's straight out of Chi-Town, so it's a Chicago track. It's a house track, and there's some Chicago royalty that the executive producer is Steve Silk Hurley, who is one of the initiators of house music along with Frankie Knuckles. You know, Jack Your Body, I Can't Turn Around are classic 80s house tunes. So he's also involved, and it is really just a great jam. And the other thing to mention is if you go to YouTube and you watch the video, it's kind of not the original video. It's taken from The Box, which was a request show it wasn't all across the states. It was on certain channels in various states.
Right.
It was called The Box, and it had a list of songs, and you could call in and perhaps they would play your choice.
Oh, wow.
I know that in the age of digital media and Spotify, like this is, everybody's like, really? But I mean, when us as South Africans used to know about The Box or read about The Box, we thought that will never come to South Africa. Right?
Never mind to your cell phone.
We're never going to see that level of technology. Yes. I was like, whoa, like 1,000 songs to choose from, and I could possibly be one of the people to choose it. But I guess you in 95, you had to be there to understand what that meant.
Yeah, well, 30 years ago, but let's hear it. It's a summer thing. This is M-Doc, and the vocals are featuring Shantae Savage. Take a listen.
Ain't nothing like a hot summer day, you know what I'm saying? M-Doc in the house, Stevie-O in the house, in the soul in the house, Shantae in the house. Once again, it's on another summer that has come up. And yo, I'm on a mission, so don't run up if you ain't ready to roll. Yeah, because something about the summer's got so much soul. And me and Stevie, we don't play. Hell because no. It's all serious business on this hot summer day. Too many females out to be tripping. And I'll be out to catch a couple of cuties, I ain't slipping. I got the keys to the ignition, I'm on a mission. My BMW's like a boat, I'm going fishing. So let's cruise through the cement season. Let's let all the windows down and catch a cool ass breeze. So what you wanna do? What you wanna do? I wanna slide through that barbecue and crack me a brew. Chill for a minute, we in it then out. I heard fever still in the jam, there be some freaks no doubt. So let's go racket, jacket, then yo, what's next? Let's push up on some cuties, get some hot summer sex. Call your girlie back and sip a partner gon' hang. Word. Tell them don't be tripping, them ain't that, it's a summer thing. Summer thing. Yeah. Come on y'all, let's kick it. Come on, y'all. It's a summer thing. I want to. It's a summer thing. I want to. It's a summer thing. All the honey showing a lot of body. It's a summer thing. Every night there's a different party. It's a summer thing. Everybody dancing and drinking. It's a summer thing. And so I'm thinking to myself, if that's what summer bring, it ain't no reasons for no more seasons. Cause the summer's cool, people like the food. And I can get with that, but tell me, can you get with this? This brand new summer jam or summer hit or summer miss? Doc, it's time to come with a brand new style. Yeah, the summer's here, it's time to get buck wild. I done waxed up the ride and it chrome is shining. People wanna stare, but them rims is blinding them. Look at them trying to look at me hard, but I ain't slipping. Just like Whitney Houston got a bodyguard. The Nakamichi's pumping summer jams. People hear it pumping in your ride and be like, damn. Where'd he get the record? Where'd he get the swing? Tell him it's some Doc's new single. It's a summer thing.
It's a summer thing. M-Doc featuring Shantae Savage and Stevie-O. The album is called Come On, Get Your Groove On, otherwise known as Come On, Get Your Groove On. I can't do it. Randall, I need you to back announce the album title. Give it a go.
I'm good, John. Been a many years before.
Okay.
Since I was
All
behind
right.
the microphone.
Come on, get your groove on. I won't even try. I won't even try and force it. You referred to the Chicago sound. Somehow that song reminded me of something 4 years earlier, DJ Jazzy Jeff and Summertime.
Absolutely.
Was that a style that kind of carried through, or did they do it in a particular way in Chicago?
Well, I think that it's a specific. I think Chicago's got like a real great history of that kind of music.
Yeah.
And I think that certainly Jazzy Jeff put the blueprint on summer, and that song has got a lot of that influence.
I want to ask you, because we were talking a little bit earlier, we'll come back to this particular track in a moment, but our colleague Karabo Chale said we should ask people what's going to be their December song, which I guess is the equivalent of the Song of Summer in the United States, which became a big Billboard thing. But just to ask you, I mean, as we move into the relaxing part of summer 2025, do you have a summer song that either is yours or you think will be one that will really, every time someone passes you with a car window open and a sound system on, that's likely to be playing?
It's probably going to be Chanel.
Okay.
Chanel by and now of course the name's gone out of my head. Tyler. Okay. I think that's going to be my summer jam. Yeah.
Let's go back to the music here. I mean, these collaborations, because you talked about Steve Silk Hurley being involved, is that a particular feature of particular genres of American music, or is music generally much more collaborative than we realize? You know, we always focus, or I certainly do, on either the band or the singer, but behind it, and you always highlight this, Randall, the extent to which there are so many people involved in originating sound and perfecting it.
Well, I think if you look at it generally, I mean, most music, there are some sort of collaborative efforts, right? You know,
Yeah.
For example, Taylor Swift, you know, everybody's on about how great a writer she is and, you know, how much money she's made out of it. But Matt Berringer from The National is actually her co-writer on a lot of those hits. So certainly, but certainly in the case of hip hop music, and R&B music, you know, there are lots and lots of collaborations, and I think especially around that period in the 90s, where, you know, you'd have a hip hop act, but they wouldn't really have a lead vocalist, as it were.
Right.
You know, it wouldn't be like the Fugees, who were a collective that had, you know, hip hop MCs plus a lead singer in it. So they'd always then go and look out and find someone like Shantae who could do a chorus, for example.
Yeah, no, it's a great track, and certainly getting me in the mood for summer and chilling a little bit. And it reminds us of our question: if you are hitting the road somewhere, where are you going, and what are you going to do when you get there? Keep sending us your messages on that on 072 7021 702. You may want to respond to Randall's choice with a summer song of your own. You can call us with that. Randall Abrams, Randall's One Song. It's a part of every Friday on 702 Drive Randall, back at the same time next week. We thank him as always for his time and his music.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Mabota, 1 to 3 p.m.
When you and I were having a conversation and we spoke about the time you had to make a decision to just be like, guys, I'm done. I need to take a break. What did it do for you in terms of filling up your creative cup? Because I know there's a fear of taking a break, right? Of like, people are going to move on, or like all of those things.
I didn't really have those inhibitions, really. I have always done music for the sake of music, and I feel like when you have something particular, no one can really fill that space, and I don't think anyone has, you know? So I was just like, you know what, I need to do this for myself, but I felt like I needed it for my craft.
Ladies among
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Mabota.
Let's walk the talk.
Sana,
He said that till slip is like the N1 highway. It's long. Thanks, Captain Obvious. I got it. It's why I got the new discount battery rewards card that gets me 10% off instantly on over 140 brands. And then, does he not tell me over 140 brands means thousands of products? Exactly. That's why your discount till slip never looked better. Inshallah, son.
Joburg, it's time to rise for our women. Friday, 19 December at 2 p.m., the Proteas women take on Ireland at the iconic DP World Wanderers Stadium, and they need you in the stands. Feel the passion, hear the power. Stand with a team that's #unbreakable. Bring your family, bring your energy, and let's fill the stands with unstoppable support. For tickets, visit www.cricket.co.za. This is our city, our stadium, our team. #DP World Wanderers Stadium, #the pride of Josie.
Naked people always get dessert. Because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums, they've got more money for Mulva pudding, or cheesecake, or both. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And because it's all online, it also costs less. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start treating yourself like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Still to come on 702 Drive, a look back on the 4 days of the African National Congress National General Council. What came out of that? Thando Maeko, political correspondent for Business Day, will be our guest on that. And then terrible tragedy in the northern part of Durban in the community of Verulam, a 4-storey temple under construction. As we understand it, certainly some construction work going on there, has collapsed. 2 people, we understand, have died. More details on that tragedy at about 5:20. It's 5 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Batoy faces tough questions and West Coast fishers struggle to make ends meet. Good evening, I'm Aurélie Kalenga. NPA head Shamila Batoy has been confronted with alleged incidents of intimidation of witnesses by former KZN Hawks head Johan Boysen. Batoy is testifying at the inquiry investigating advocate Andrew Chauke's fitness to hold office. The Johannesburg prosecution's boss is accused of making questionable prosecutorial decisions and leading Boysen's prosecution without evidence justifying the decision. Khomotso Modise has more.
Last week, Advocate Shamila Batoy testified that she withdrew the charges against Major General Johan Boysen and his Kato Manor unit without having read the dockets. This morning, Chauke's lawyer Tembeka Ngugaitobi presented Batoy with WhatsApp conversations from 2019 between Boysen and a man referred to as Mr. Danikas, a witness in a murder case against Boysen who had fled the country to Europe.
You are making a fool of yourself. Why don't you come and testify in South Africa? You are a coward. Let's just stop there. Now, Major General Boysen knows full well why Mr. Danikas fled the country. It is because he was scared of a possibility of murder by the Kato Manor unit. Is that correct?
I have no idea. You should ask that of Major General Boysen.
Chauke's lawyers say shortly after this exchange, the NPA, under Batoy's instruction, withdrew the charges against Boysen, but did not consult or inform Danikas, who is still in Europe. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
The construction of the Clan William Dam has hit another snag over property rights, but Infrastructure South Africa says it won't affect building deadlines. A decade delayed, the raising of the dam wall finally got underway this year, but recently the Department of Water and Sanitation found itself embroiled in a legal battle with a landowner over occupation of his property. Although crushing activities were temporarily halted, the project is set to remain on track. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
A number of privately owned properties had to be acquired by the state for the expansion of the Clan William Dam. But one landowner whose farm was expropriated remained on the farm and continued farming and conducting business, while matters related to access to the property for construction purposes were being negotiated. The Western Cape High Court found in his favour that a crushing plant had been prematurely brought onto a section of the property that was still in his possession. Infrastructure South Africa head Mametse Masemola says although crushing activities had to be temporarily halted, around 80% of the contractor's work had already been done. The 5 billion rand dam project is but one of a pipeline of 78 projects with more than 460 billion rand under construction, and more are awaiting Treasury approval.
We have asked from National Treasury 20.2 billion rand in terms of those projects. That has been achieved.
Masemola says the current phase of the Clan William project is still expected to be concluded by mid-2026. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
Small-scale fishers along the West Coast say it's been a chaotic first month of the crayfish season. The chaos comes after many of them were issued permits with reduced quotas, despite the Department of Fisheries announcing the total allowable catch would increase significantly. A forum representing more than 1,000 West Coast fishers says the reduced quotas have seen them struggle to make ends meet. Carlo Peterson reports.
West Coast Small Scale Fishers Cooperative Forum chairperson Hilda Adams says several fishers were recently issued crayfish permits with reduced quotas. She says the permits were issued a few months after former Fisheries Minister Dion George announced the crayfish quota would increase by 58%.
On the West Coast, fishers received less than they did last year, while commercial lobster operators in the same areas received significant increases.
Adams says most small-scale fishers in other areas along the south coast received increased quotas.
This effectively strips fishers of their livelihoods and threatens food security across our West Coast communities. Small-scale fishers operate with small vessels and limited resources.
The department has indicated it will respond to the fishers' calls for clarity. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And authorities are bracing for a busy weekend on the roads with high traffic volumes expected. The Western Cape Mobility Department says it will closely monitor key routes as locals and visitors travel in and out of the province for the holidays. Motorists and pedestrians are being urged to take extra care on the roads. Chief Director for Traffic Management Maxine Bezuidenhout.
Our officers will be out in full force across all major routes, but road safety is a shared responsibility. Let's do our part to make sure everyone arrives safely.
And European finance ministers have agreed to set a €3 custom duty on low-value parcels. From the 1st of July next year, parcels imported into the bloc will face the fee. The union says this is in an effort to tackle a flood of cheap imports by the likes of Shein and Temu. The move comes a month after the bloc agreed to scrap a duty exemption for packages worth less than €150 imported directly to consumers in the 27-nation bloc. Gold is trading at $4,287.79 an ounce. The rand's at 16.83 to the dollar, 22.53 to the pound, 19.75 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $61.55 a barrel.
On the N12 West, there's a crash after Atlas Road with one lane obstructed. And if you're on the R24 East, there's a crash after Van der Linde Road that's causing delays from Bradford Road. And on the R21 North, a crash at Olifantsfontein Road.
In your world of sports, Bafana are gearing up to head to Morocco for the African Cup of Nations. But first, they meet Ghana in a friendly, as well as that urgent matter of Hugo Brosh's comments that needs to be addressed. And Cole Palmer is available for selection for Chelsea in their Premier League game tomorrow. Then a big weekend for the Proteas men and Proteas women as they are both in action.
A cloudy Saturday with scattered showers and thunder showers in Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to an overnight low of 15 degrees, peaking at 23. And Pretoria and Vereeniging 16 and 24. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. NPA head Shamila Batoy has been confronted with alleged incidents of intimidation of witnesses by former KZN Hawks head Johan Boysen.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive. It's good to have you with us on this Friday in December, the second Friday of the month. Some of you are hitting the road and heading out and going somewhere and going away for a while. Yeah, you're coming back, I know, but you're heading somewhere either for a holiday or time spent with family, or maybe a special occasion. There could be a wedding on your calendar. It might even be your own. So my question to you, as you load the last things in the car, or you tap your fingers on the wheel wishing the traffic would clear so you could get some open road, is where are you going? What are you going to do? I'd love to hear from you. Do drop me a note on that on 011 883 0702. Maimuna is not quite driving, but says we're flying to Cape Town. But then the driving begins. We're doing small towns, starting in Darling, Evita Bezuidenhout's hometown, Tulbach, and mentions the Sarensburg wine estate. Gorgeous place, fabulous wine. I envy you. And then says, as the road turns to the west coast, Strandloper, Greyton, I love intimate small towns. So there's a road trip to envy. What's yours? Call us on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Quite a long road for the African National Congress over the last 4 days. The party meeting, I think it's fair to say, with a sense of real trepidation. Did they manage to clarify anything that would help them arrest what has been quite a precipitous electoral decline, not just in the last year's elections, but I think evidenced in some by-elections over the course of 2025. Tando Maeko is the political correspondent at Business Day, a keen observer of National Party politics, and she'll be joining us to give us her take on those 4 days out in Birchwood. Could be a movie. 4 days in Birchwood. Coming to us. No, it's not a movie. It's an important political story with consequences for everybody in the country, I would think, irrespective of whether you consider yourself an ANC supporter or not. Tando with us in about 4 or 5 minutes' time. Tragedy out in the north of Durban. It really is a heartbreaking story. A 4-storey temple has collapsed at Redcliffe in the Verulam area in the north part of the city. We're going to hear from Emergency Services, IPSS, Medical Rescue on the scene. That organization spokesperson with us at about 22 minutes past 5. And then later in the show, our weekly feature, a song, a book and a dish. We'll spend time with Alan Donald, one of South Africa's great cricket greats, not just the number, but he was a character. He was the kind of player that when the ball was in his hands, there'd be a roar and then a kind of a hush as people waited to see what he would do. And it was usually something worth seeing. So, Alan Donald with us at about 20 to 6. Great to have you with us. Welcome to the show.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hey, Dada John. Hope you're well. So I'll be driving to Queenstown in the Eastern Cape. Actually in the AMs. So yeah, I'm gonna get home now and rest a bit for the drive that I'm planning to take in the early hours of the morning, going to visit family. So I managed to get some leave for the week that we are heading to. So I'll use that time to visit family and then back at work for Christmas and New Year. So yeah, looking forward to that drive.
Yeah, safe travels heading down into the Eastern Cape. Safe travels to all of you. May not be going far, but are just trying to get home or get to the next place you need to be. And that, of course, means you are probably in the traffic. Let's find out how it's moving.
EWN Traffic.
Charlene Leroux is your eyes and ears. What's the latest, Charlene? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Well, it is moving with some obstructions on some of the roadways. On the N12 West, there's still that earlier crash after Atlas Road. One lane is still obstructed there. And if you're on the R24 East, there's a crash after Van der Linde Road, and that's slowing down traffic. It's slowing down just before Bradford Road. And on the R21 North, there's also a crash at Olifantsfontein, and that's slowing down traffic passing that scene. If you are on Pretoria Main Road, there's also a crash, and that's on the ramp to the M1 South, causing delays heading onto the M1 South. And once you are there, there's a crash just before Caller Drive. It's not causing delays at the moment, but please be on the lookout for that. And on the N3 North, there's a stationary vehicle, and that's in the left lane just at Van Buren Road. And then there's still heavy traffic on all approaches heading through Galuli's interchange. More Eyewitness News traffic in 15 minutes.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings.
4 to 6.
The votes are coming in. Moss in Pretoria, Morning Africa. Whitney all the way, brother. Zuki is saying, I'm voting Dolly only because Whitney's version gets played way more. I love them both. Let's take one or two voice notes.
I think Whitney Houston is the best.
Yo, Africa, this song, the Whitney Houston version, that was the last song I played for my son when the coffin went down and I almost fell in the hole. And I said to him, I will always love you.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries. World-class team of 1,111 with one mission, awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate programs. The question isn't, can you afford to enroll? It's, can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
Team, summer is game time in Mzansi. Every tap, scan, swipe, it all adds up. And FNB is giving us big rewards. Partner deals, e-bucks, defense tips, and chances to score experiences money can't buy. But you're only in the game if you paid with FNB. So stay sharp, spend clever, and let's dominate. Get in the game with FNB. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, Northrise FSP and credit provider. NCRCP 20. T's and C's, earn rules and limits apply.
At Checkers, we do more so you get extra this Christmas. With festive savings like Coca-Cola Original Taste Less Sugar Soft Drink 2 litres, 3 for 65 Rand. And Easy Calf Boneless Gammon for 124.99 per kilo. Plus, stand a chance to win your share of 7 million Rand in prizes. Simply buy any 3 qualifying products and swipe your extra savings card to enter. Valid until Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060. T&Cs apply.
Start your summer days with healthy sleep from Dial-A-Bed and save thousands with our summer sleep savers. Our queen-size 40-wing Sleep Tribe Pro foam set is reduced to only 7,999, and our Sealy Skyline Extra Foam Queen set is now only 13,499. Or get a king size for just 17,999. Dial-A-Bed, sleep for life. Now reopened in the Park Meadow Centre opposite Eastgate Mall.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. So, interesting times for the African National Congress, the National General Council, a very important decision-making and discussion forum of a party that is facing some very, very tough and difficult political choices. So, what did they talk about? What did they decide? And in what kind of shape is the ANC coming out of that process? Thando Maeko is political correspondent at Business Day and joins us now on 702 Drive. Thando, welcome. Thanks very much for giving us your time today. I've heard it said that the ANC is very good at diagnosing what's wrong with itself, not very good at taking the medicine. What's your sense after 4 days? I would assume there are some hard choices to make. Are they ready and willing to make them? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to your listeners. Yes, this week it definitely was a diagnostic test for the ANC at the NGC. I mean, one of the delegates that I had spoken to said that it felt like one group therapy session because it was the realization was coming in is that it's no longer a strategic setback of the 2024 elections, because in 2016, when they lost metros, it was a strategic setback. Then again in 2021, then again in 2024. So it really, to them, felt like a group therapy session, and they were taking stock of all the losses. But I think this time they're pretty truthful about what had happened, what had expired, and going forward, I think the ANC is now not looking to grow its base anymore. It's looking to maintain its power. And I say that because it seems like the ANC has really rallied behind the GNU as the best way forward, not only for the country, but for the party as well.
That's interesting. Say a bit more about it, because I must admit, I observe the ANC and political parties generally from a bit of a distance, and I rely on people like you who are engaging on that close daily basis, trying to get a sense of the different currents and undercurrents. My understanding was that there is a majority that's maybe hanging on to the idea of coalition a little bit like someone hangs onto a plank of wood after a shipwreck, but that there's a lot of other people who are saying, we're happy to have a coalition, it's just with the wrong people at the moment. What's the balance of argument around that yes, coalition, but no to its current form?
I mean, we did expect a lot of pushback regarding the composition of the GNU coming into the NGC, right? Because the different provinces had their respective provincial general councils, and the composition of the GNU came about. But at the GNU, it seems like the ANC really rallied behind staying with the composition of the GNU as it is, which is about 10 parties, including the DA and the Freedom Front Plus,
right,
but not leaving really the door closed to other parties that may want to join. It's just that the ANC did not really come out with any solid plans on how to, what they describe, counter some sort of anti-transformation agenda from GNU partners. That, of course, is the DA and the Freedom Front Plus as described by the ANC. Yeah.
If I were to ask you, Thando, because you presumably were there at the beginning and chatting to people in the build-up to Birchwood, and either had conversations or you were out in Ekurhuleni as everybody made their way to their vehicles, blue lights or not, to make their way to wherever they were going next. If you were to compare the mood before and the mood after, how would you describe it? Happier at the end? I mean, give us your thoughts.
It was definitely a joyful mood, although there was moments of somber, right? When the discussions of the 2024 elections came up, when the discussions of the GNU came up, when the discussions of the deaths of prominent ANC members came up, there were definitely somber moments. But it definitely was, I think, a very joyful mood. Mainly, I think that I attribute it because there was no leadership contest.
Yes.
So no one was there was no throwing of chairs, there were no songs, factional songs. Well, there were factional songs, but factional songs against the president or against the leadership.
Yes.
Rather. So it was joyful. And I think it's also because the type of delegates that the ANC had, well, I think would describe as maybe a majority of them were ANC elites. So
right,
people that really had government deployment. So you had like municipal managers, you had MNCs, you had majority were ministers, MECs, people that work in state-owned enterprises, so on and so forth. So it was really the composition of the delegates was really made up of that, and it was a smaller delegation, right? So it was only around 1,800 delegates.
yes.
If it was an elective conference, it could go up to 3,000, 4,000 delegates.
Yeah, and a different category of people perhaps coming in for that. Thando, your take with your knowledge of the much broader political environment. There is a view that, okay, all well and good, much more realistic, much more determined to right the wrongs, but some people would say this is just way too late, that the consequences of an ANC that was not perhaps as self-aware as this one is portraying itself as, the consequences of their actions and indeed the continued undermining of the state, corruption being just one of many problems, that this really is too late. Well, what do you think? I mean, not necessarily based on what you saw at Birchwood, but your kind of the broader timelines of your analysis.
I think definitely the time for telling people that the liberation era politics is definitely over, and reminding people of the liberation era is definitely over.
Yes.
Right? And if you see that in the young leadership coming up within the ANC, but also the broader political sphere in other political parties, right? So people no longer want to hear, we did this for you, and then on top of that, we provided 10,000 houses and taps. People, especially I think the middle class, they want to hear that, okay, because you are working at this area, it will take you this much to get to work. You'll be able to take your kids to school. You'll be able to take your kids to university. That's what they want to hear. So it's more, I think, coming up into the 2026 elections, the bread and butter issues will definitely take the fall.
Thank you so much. Thando Maeko, a political correspondent at Business Day. You can check out his stuff on the Business Day website. A particularly interesting piece that caught my eye, published yesterday. Parks Tau talking about how South Africa in general, but I guess this was for the benefit of people at the ANC gathering, might deal with the US position on tariffs and some other stuff from the conference as well. 24 minutes past 5.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Tragedy, as I mentioned earlier, in the Verulam area in the northern part of Durban. A building collapse. The structure is a temple. Not entirely clear to me, but it seems that there was already a fully functional building, but a second structure or an additional structure was being constructed on top of it. So a building site where there's been a collapse. Let's get an update then on what the latest issue is. People are trapped under the rubble. I'm not entirely clear on the number of people who have been declared dead on the site, but obviously our thoughts are with the families of people and the people themselves who are trapped, and of course condolences to people connected to those who have lost lives. Samantha Merrick is spokesperson for IPSS Medical Rescue, and she joins us now. Ms. Merrick, welcome and thanks very much for your time. What's the latest from the teams, from your teams on site in regard to the rescue efforts? Are they managing to make some headway?
I don't know if you're aware, down in KZN today, we've got temperatures in excess of 35 degrees, so it has been a very trying afternoon.
Right.
Access to the entrapped people, numbers are unconfirmed at this stage because as of my last update, there was no contractor on site who could confirm how many workers he had on site. We are expecting 4 to 5 people trapped under the rubble. We have 1 confirmed deceased at this time. We did post some videos and pictures earlier on just how tight the space is that our rescuers are trying to access.
Yeah, can you describe for us what actually, not so much what happened, but what the scene is? I referred there, but I'm going on secondary reports, an existing structure, construction work taking place above it. Is that broadly true? And if it is, do we know what collapsed?
From what I understand is the construction site, a part of the construction site has collapsed on the side of quite a steep hill, which has also made, the accessing the area very, very difficult. At this time, I don't have a full picture of what has occurred. Our teams on scene are extremely busy trying to, gather information and also just trying to access, the people who we are hoping some of them are still alive under the rubble.
Do your teams have everything they need? In terms of numbers, in terms of equipment, it does sound like the physical circumstances are extremely difficult. You spoke about both the slope and the extremely constrained space.
Teams on scene. We've got teams from private organizations like IPSS Search and Rescue, START, Netcare, and also the government organizations like eThekwini Fire Department, Metro Search and Rescue, and SAP Search and Rescue, all on scene. So it's all hands on deck trying to access, those trapped beneath the rubble.
Well, we wish you and your teams and everyone else the very best in this rescue effort. Thank you. Samantha Merrick, spokesperson at IPSS Medical Rescue. It's 27 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Right, let's get the very latest business news with Stephen Curtis, who will also tell us about The Money Show. And by the way, if you can't listen to The Money Show between 6 and 8, because maybe you're doing something else. You could listen to the podcast of The Money Show in the full and firm knowledge that it has just been named the best podcast of 2025 by Apple Podcasts in South Africa. Stephen Curtis, before we talk about the JSE and its stellar day, a stellar moment for you. Many congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You make us proud.
No, thank you very much. And it's, I'm right next to Trevor Noah in that group of podcasters.
Well
so
done.
Very excited, yes. But
And
thank you.
we are indeed. Well done. What's happening on the markets and what's happening on the award-winning Money Show?
Unfortunately, no Trevor Noah. But everything's looking very strong today, actually. Financials down a tick, but otherwise the rand's stronger, the gold price is stronger, and the JSE is stronger, ending up 1.05%, 113,302 points. Financials down 0.18, industrials up 0.16, and then resources up 3.3, as you can imagine. Gold back where it was an hour ago. John did slip a little bit, come back a bit. Powering perhaps to $4,400 as predicted on the Money Show last night. That's pushing gold prices up very strongly. So DRD gold is up 10.5%, Sabania up 8.19%, Northern Platinum, Harmony, Implats, all of them up by over 4%. Northam's up by 5.3%. HCI, stellar week for them. They're up 6.86% on the day. British American Tobacco down 3.5%. Sappi down 3%. Richmond down 2.59% as well on the day. One or two of the financial shares down too. So Discovery was down earlier. Discovery actually down 1.18%, and FirstRand down 1.12%. We'll get more on this on the Money Show tonight because I think it's going to be a very important story, and we'll just see how it pans out. Now, but MoneyWeb reporting today that the Financial Sector Conduct Authority is assessing a complaint that there may have been possible insider trading in the Iani Milton Foundation's purchase of the Curo Schooling Group. Now, you remember how share prices jumped 60% when the news was announced. They're going to pay a huge amount of money for it. But the MoneyWeb reporting there were 5 unusually timed transactions by 5 different entities in the 6 months before that announcement was made. Seems all of the people involved have denied any kind of wrongdoing. We'll speak to the editor of MoneyWeb, Ryk van Niekerk, tonight and just ask him a little bit more about it. And then MTN confirming Lloyd and Pachlele is the new head of their fiber business. In the US, there were results out today from Broadcom. Broadcom saying it's not making as much money in AI as it liked. It's expecting lower future margins. And as a result, that raises those fears once again of an AI bubble. The Dow Jones is up 0.21%. The Nasdaq is down 0.63%. The S&P 500 is down 0.33%. The gold price, $4,344.64. Platinum, $1,762.60. And Brent crude, $60.90 an ounce. The rand to the dollar, 16.87. To the euro, 19.80. To the British pound, 22.55. On the Money Show tonight, John, more on that MoneyWeb story about the transaction. We will also hear the bullish case for South Africa and why that's so important. I mean, if you look at the extraordinary year the JSE is having, a lot of people predicting actually next year could be even better, which would be just amazing. Lots of money coming in. And then we will also take a nice, scenic, slow, day-long train journey through parts of the Western Cape. Close your eyes. And if you really feel you need to be back in the 20th century, bring along a book. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Yeah, bring an audio book so you can keep looking out the window at the scenery. That would be the way I'd go about it. Thank you. Stephen with the Money Show, award-winning as I mentioned. You don't want to miss it. It's 28 minutes now to 6. Urali Kalinga has the very latest news. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The ANC's 12th Greater Tshwane Regional Conference is set to deliberate on the party's governing coalition in the capital. The ANC currently leads a coalition government in the municipality, which features Action SA, EFF and several other smaller parties. Aside from the election of new leadership, the ANC's 3-day conference will also discuss governance issues in the municipality. Tabiso Goba reports.
Following the removal of the DA-led coalition government in Tshwane, the ANC caucus wanted to put up its own member as mayor. However, it was overruled ruled by its higher structures, who felt Action SA's Nasipi Moya was a better candidate than the one put forward by the ANC caucus. With about a year to go until the local government elections, there has been questions over whether the ANC caucus in Tshwane is happy with the current setup. ANC member in Tshwane MMC for Utility Services, Franz Boshielo.
Our coalition as well, we are going to also discuss about it because the current coalition, as we know, is very much stronger, and we are working very well with different parties that we are in coalition with.
Boshielo says the conference has the task of coming out with an election strategy that ensures the ANC regains its majority in Tshwane. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Tshwane.
The list of names for the position of NPA boss will be recommended to President Cyril Ramaphosa following interviews. 6 people were interviewed for the job this week ahead of current NPA advocate Shamila Batoy's end of term next month. One of the candidates interviewed is advocate Menzi Simelane. Khomotso Modise has more.
Following the 2007 inquiry into former NPA head advocate Vusi Pikoli's fitness to hold office, the chair, Dr. Frin Janwala, found that advocate Menzi Simelane, who was Director General in the Justice Department, misled the inquiry and his testimony was riddled with irregularities. During his interview yesterday, the panel asked Simelane why he did not challenge Janwala's findings against him, but he insists Janwala's comments were not findings.
It could not have been a finding, Minister, because the inquiry was not about me. The inquiry was about somebody else. I just came as a witness to talk to specific issues.
But it would be the same comments made in Janwala's report that would ultimately lead the Constitutional Court to find Simelane's appointment to be invalid, leading to his ousting. Meanwhile, the advisory panel will make a recommendation to President Cyril Ramaphosa on the candidates that they endorse, and it will be up to the President to make a final decision. Khomzo Modise, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
A CSR partnership between Prime Media Cares and Tile Africa has marked the close of the 16 days of activism today with a donation to St. Anne's Home. The joint initiative donated beds and furniture to the gender-based violence shelter. This is the second donation this week after its contribution to included group homes for persons with intellectual disabilities. Social Development MEC Yako Lont facilitated the handover, calling for greater private sector support.
But we need so much more. I mean, these shelters sometimes struggle to make ends meet, and we really need organizations, individuals to step up.
Head of Prime Media Cares, Trish Taylor, says the partnership shows how collaboration can drive meaningful change in our communities.
It's partnerships like these where media, corporate South Africa and government all collaborate to bring about meaningful change and drive a collective impact agenda. Prime Media Cares, as a leading media company in South Africa, it's critical that we use our assets for social cause.
And Nobel Peace Laureate Maria Machado says the U.S. helped her get to Norway from hiding in Venezuela, expressing support for U.S. military action against her country and vowing to return home. Machado, who's lived in hiding in Venezuela since August last year after challenging the rule of President Nicolas Maduro, emerged on a hotel balcony in Oslo to cheering supporters yesterday after several days of confusion over her whereabouts. She thanked those who risked their lives to get her to Norway, but it's not immediately clear how or when she'll return to Venezuela, which has said it would consider her a fugitive if she left. A cloudy Saturday with scattered showers and thundershowers in Gauteng tomorrow, lows between 15 and 16 degrees, peaking around 23 and 24.
On the R21 North, there's a crash at Olifantsfontein, so you can expect delays. A stationary vehicle on the N12 West after Atlas Road with one lane obstructed, and there's a stationary vehicle on the N1 North in the right lane after Flying Saucer.
The top story, the ANC's 12th Greater Tshwane Regional Conference is set to deliberate on the party's governing coalition in the capital.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
The votes are coming in. Moss in Pretoria, Morning Africa. Whitney all the way, brother. Zuki is saying, I'm voting Dolly only because Whitney's version gets played way more. I love them both. Let's take 1 or 2 voice notes.
I think Whitney Houston is the best.
Yo, Africa, this song, the Whitney Houston version, that was the last song I played for my son when the coffin went down and I almost fell in the hole. And I said to him, I will always love you.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Every week there's a new SUV brand you can't pronounce. The Mini Countryman doesn't need to reinvent itself. Heritage comes standard. Head-up display keeps you focused. All-wheel drive keeps you going. And driver assist keeps you calm while the others catch up. The Mini Countryman from 9,899 Rand per month with Mini Select Finance. Visit mini.co.za to book your test drive. T's and C's apply.
Tip your way to glory in the Hollywood Bets Punters Challenge, the free-to-play horse racing game with daily cash giveaways and massive jackpot prizes. Pick all the winners on the race card and you could win 100,000 Rand. Bet 50 Rand or more on your selections using the Bet Slip feature and you could walk away with 1 million Rand. Visit punterschallenge.hollywoodbets.net today and tip your way to the top. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
Every December, it's the same story. New toys, new clothes, and more takeaways. And by January, the bonus is gone. Grow it, don't blow it. With a Nedbank investment. Invest 100,000 Rand or more in a Nedbank 12-month electronic fixed deposit account and stand a chance to win 50,000 Rand. Invest your bonus and grow your future. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Hi, I'm in grade 6 at Crawford International, and I'm already building my future. At Crawford, we don't just learn, we prepare for the world ahead. By grade 10, I can choose from a range of subjects in any combination. With experienced teachers, amazing extracurriculars, and AI-driven support, I'm set up to excel in everything, from maths to public speaking. Book your personalized tour. Crawford International, building global leaders.
EWN Sport.
Tato Moloto with the very latest from the world of sport. Good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, John. We are still on this matter. Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie is holding his fire on Hugo Brosh until SAFA and the coach himself respond to claims of racist and sexist comments. Brosh's harsh reprimand of Mbegazeli Mbogazi for arriving late for camp sparked outrage, leading UDM, the political party, to take the matter to the Human Rights Commission. Deputy President Nkawayomuzi Kwankwa wants Brosh to explain himself and apologize.
The UDM is very clear insofar as this is concerned. We will not tolerate racism, we will not tolerate sexism or any form of discrimination from anyone in South Africa. So if Hugo Brosh, for example, was quoted out of context or was misunderstood, what we expect for him is to account to the Human Rights Commission when the relevant body does its investigation on this matter.
The walls come crumbling down for Bafana as they gear up for Ghana in a friendly next week, and of course that big African Cup of Nations on the 22nd. Then the Carling Cup action hits Moses Mabhida tomorrow as newly crowned Knockout Cup champions Orlando Pirates face All Stars at 3. Then in the Premier League, we see 4 games tomorrow. Log leaders Arsenal facing Wolves, while Fulham meet Burnley. For Liverpool, they are up against Brighton. And great news for Chelsea, Cole Palmer has been declared fit and available for their match against Everton at Stamford Bridge. In cricket, the Proteas women head to East London to launch their ODI series against Ireland tomorrow. Meanwhile, the men have levelled the T20I series 1-1 after smashing India by 51 runs. Quinton de Kock was electric, crushing 90 as South Africa posted 213 for 4, and the man looks hungry for more.
Prior to my retirement, I was losing my hunger to win games, specifically for the Proteas. That time away just brought back my hunger. I was telling the guys that I don't think I've ever felt this way. Whereas before, when you're young, you're trying to just play to score runs and impress. I feel now that there's a renewed energy where not just playing, I'm playing to win every game.
In rugby, the Stormers take on La Rochelle tomorrow in Gqeberha, and Sasha Feinberg Mgomezulu is rolling in with serious confidence after his peers voted him SA Players Player of the Year. Here's what he told Rugby 365.
They understand what we try to do and how much work it takes to try up your game and push it and push it and push it, and to get recognition from them means everything. They're the guys we respect the most, and yeah, like I said, the guys that understand what goes into it. So to get their approval and pat on the back from them is everything to me.
Still in the Champions Cup, Saracens visit Sharks in Durban tomorrow, while on Sunday it is the Bulls who are away to Saints. Then in the Challenge Cup, the Lions away to Newcastle Falcons and Cheetahs hosting Stade Francis. Tato Moloto, Eyewitness News Sport.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
And speaking of sport, in our weekly feature, Song, a Book and a Dish, we're going to spend time with a South African cricketing great. That's coming up in a moment, but if you need to get home, we're going to help you out.
EWN Traffic.
Very latest traffic news. Charlene Leroux, what have you got? Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon, John. It's not looking too bad. There's still just heavy traffic heading onto Gululi's interchange on all the approaches. The vehicle that was broken down, that stationary vehicle on the N1 North after flying saucer, that's been cleared. But if you're on the N3 North, that's still that stationary vehicle in the left lane at Van Buren Road. So please be on the lookout for that. And there's still heavy traffic on the R21 North, and that was due to that earlier crash at Olifantsfontein Road. And if you're on the M1 South, you can expect delays from Parktown. More Eyewitness News traffic at 6 p.m.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. A song, a book, and a dish.
On 702.
16 minutes to 6. You know, in American sport, they have a term called a marquee player. And my understanding of what a marquee player is somebody who you might go to a stadium or a venue of any kind just to see them play. And my next guest, I think, qualifies as one of those kinds of players. Yes, he was part of great South African cricket teams featuring players, for example, like Jacques Kallis comes to mind immediately. Mark Boucher is another. But there was something very, very special about watching Alan Donald play cricket. And I always say that on the one hand, you could measure the impact he was having by the roars, but you could also measure it in the hush when he got to the end of his run-up and turned to thunder in to bowl at whoever was waiting for him. Alan Donald is my guest on A Song, a Book and a Dish, and we welcome him to the show. Alan, thanks very much for giving us your time.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
So I'm interested to know, you grew up in Bloemfontein, and there was a very special moment in your hometown that we'll just share with you and with everybody else shortly. How do you think Bloem shaped you, though?
Yeah, look, I was in primary school at Great College, and, obviously it's a magnificent school, and I think the quietness about Bloemfontein, the camaraderie that you form, because, let's face it, Bloem is, everyone knows everyone, but I think from a sporting point of view, it really brought people together. We started off with a young bunch of guys at Free State Cricket, and that became great mates, and we won a few trophies, and it was really good fun. But I think there's just that tightness about that Bloem that really rallies people together. So yeah, I think I went from a primary school to a technical high school and a rugby and basically an athletic school. It wasn't really known for its cricket. So cricket, if you see me with wicket-keeping gloves on and batting at threes and opening the bowling, then you know there's a problem.
Yeah.
So
but,
anyway.
Yeah, but you filled in your time playing fly half for the school rugby team and throwing the javelin. Was there any connection between throwing the javelin and throwing a cricket ball, not throwing it, but delivering a cricket ball with probably the same amount of threat?
It started off actually in primary school when my cricket coach, Mr. Fenter, I still remember that name because he was that strict. And he told me one day that I should go try and throw the javelin, and it's not an easy skill to do. He thought I could throw a cricket ball a long way, so he said to me, "Go and throw the javelin." But I quickly fell in love with athletics as well. I just wanted to give every sport a crack. So it kept me going. It kept me interested in and searching for something that I was hopefully potentially good at. So that's why I did all these things.
So your dad, Stuart, as well as being a hard worker in the post office in Bloem, was something of a cricketer himself, a reasonable bowler. What did you learn from him?
He had a beautiful action. He had a stunning action. He played for Old Greys and another club in Bloemfontein, and I used to go and watch him practice. It was more like those of you who knows Ian Pont. Ian Pont was a fast bowler from Essex, and something similar to that. It was sort of a Patrick Patterson type of guy, and I used to watch him. He played a couple of seasons in club cricket, and then I think my sort of passion for the game started there, watching him, and then my uncle really became my mentor, manager, close confidant. He was a headmaster at Brebner Primary School, and he kept me. Let's just face it, he was all that. He kept me humble, and
yeah.
So yeah, it was him who really sort of, when he took over as my manager, agent, that sort of thing. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool to have a family figure being a mentor as well.
We'll come back to your dad and music when we get to your song a little bit later in the show. But take us into the Donald home. There's your brother Andrew, there's who's younger than you, your sister Melanie, who's even younger than you, your mom Francina working in the health services, your dad putting in a long stint at the post office. Round the dinner table, what was happening? What was the conversation?
Very humble family. My mom and dad worked really, really hard and long hours. We used to travel in the morning. Both me and my brother were at technical high school, so it was really close to the National Hospital. So it's just a short walk from there. We used to get in the car at 4 a.m. in the morning and go to where she worked, and slept for a couple of hours longer before just strolling across to the school. And then catch the bus home in the afternoon, and then come back to school to do some sports in the afternoon, whether it was rugby or cricket. My brother played a little bit of cricket as well, and my sister played some netball. She's a very tall girl. So yeah, a lot of sport was talked around the dinner table, that's for sure. And all sports, rugby, cricket, and all sorts. My granddad was a very good, played lawn bowls for long. And then we used to go and watch my uncle play for Old Andrians, which is the old scholars for St Andrew's School in Bloemfontein. So,
right.
Yeah, so there was a lot of sport involved, and he was a very good hockey coach as well. Played hockey. He was a SA under 21 hockey coach as well. So there was lots of ball sport in our family, not only at the dinner table, but on the sports fields as well.
So we asked you to talk about your favorite food, Chinese food. I'm assuming that wasn't on the table at home. When did you start sort of exploring food and cuisine? You went off to Warwickshire in the UK quite early in your life. You were there for 13 years or 14 even, 87 to 2000. But when did your taste buds expand?
Exactly there. So, I was quickly introduced to or taken to Indian food and Chinese food in Birmingham. Birmingham's got the largest Indian restaurants in the UK, and there I quickly got introduced to that. But Chinese food, really, for me, I don't know what it's about. Chinese food is tasty. It's quick and easy. Look, I'm never going to shy away from a braai,
yes.
Especially coming up over the next few weeks. So, but Chinese food is just, there's one in Joburg that's close to us at the Wanderers Stadium that I always visit with my job with the DP World Lions. So I frequently pop around there to sample some lunch or takeaways. So yeah, that's where it all started in the UK.
Alan, was there a moment or a game, and maybe there wasn't, and that these things build up slowly, but you get interested in cricket, you start bowling. Was there a moment when you realized, wow, that the ball's coming out of my hand really quickly, and it's accurate as well, and this is something I could be really good at? Was there a moment, or is it a much slower growth than that?
No, definitely. I took my first fifer against Yorkshire, and that was in 1989. And I had a massive breakthrough when I shared. It was those days when we had two overseas players, and there was a West Indian guy from Antigua, Anthony Merrick, he was also a brute of a bloke, can bowl fast, and I guess he was a bit injured. He arrived injured, and I got a lucky break, and I just hit a purple patch. You know, I came, and I think I took 80 odd wickets that year in '89, and got retained, and I think that year for me was the year that said, listen, this is the game. This is the game that I want to be doing for a very long time. And at that time, there were some serious overseas players, especially batters.
Yes.
Lots of good, very, very good West Indian batters that was playing for different counties. And so the exposure that you get to talk to Ian Botham, Sir Richard Hadley, and Clive Rice, who was playing for Nottinghamshire.
Right.
And the exposure I had with them to chat after a game, that was I'll never forget that. So Richard Hadley had a massive role to play from a mental point of view.
Yes.
He just gave me solid advice. It was that year, '89 was a massive year for me.
Let's jump around a little bit because we've done some food. We need to do your book. You've chosen American Sniper. People may know the movie 2014, Bradley Cooper in the lead role, Sienna Miller also starring in that. It's the story of Chris Kyle, an American soldier, 4 tours of Iraq, and he was known as a particularly extraordinarily accurate sniper, co-written with Jim DeFelice and Scott McEwen. What about that book puts it right at the top of your list?
Well, for a start, I have to be honest. I'm not a massive book reader. I don't get my head in books too much. But this book really interests me. When I saw it on YouTube, and I obviously saw the tragic end of Chris Kyle. But the stuff that this guy did to protect his mates and his teammates, the heroic things that he did, I'm pretty much a fan of books that happen in real time.
Yes.
And this book I couldn't put down. I just couldn't put it down. It was immense what this guy did. And again, I served 2 years in the military myself when it was compulsory back in the day. So I mean, I have nowhere got near what this guy achieved in his military career, and so once again it just teaches people about teamwork and how dedicated you've got to be, but what this guy did for his teammates was just extraordinary. But how it all ended was even more cold than I expected. But yeah, that's what really sort of interests me about Chris Kyle. It was just immense reading, and then the movie followed, and obviously, you sort of got an idea of what really went down.
So, Alan, we need to get into music because we still have to do a song. I want to go back to your dad because you and I actually had a long interview about 30 years ago while we were both in the UK. You told me your dad was a musician and did, I think, a Buddy Holly show. Do I remember that right?
And if I got a photo at home of him.
Yes.
He was in a band. They did these these local pubs and restaurants and stuff that they played, and I could swear my dad was a dead ringer with the glasses that Buddy Holly used to, and his dark hair and the way he was singing, and he played the guitar really well. He played a little bit of drums, but when my dad was at home, after his passing, I took his all his records. I got about 600 records at home, vinyl records,
yes.
And he's singing, So there's a lot of Buddy Holly vinyls that's lying at home, sometimes we put them on, and the memories keep flooding back. But he was a great fan of Elvis, and obviously Buddy Holly, and the list goes on. So he used to just put his earphones on, and he just, he was just in a happy place.
So speaking of earphones, many people who would have watched you when you weren't on the field would see you kind of slumped in a chair with your headphones on, and we always wondered what you were listening to. But out of all the music you've listened to over the years, you've chosen Aha, and you've chosen a song that many people know. But tell us why this one, Alan. After the many thousands of tracks you would have listened to, this one stands out.
I'm an 80s baby, so
yes.
I was obviously not born in the 80s, but I love the 80s music. And this one was launched in 1985 by Aha, and it's just a cracking tune. I listened to it on the way here to the airport today, so I don't know why, but I just love their music. They're a great band. I watched them in Canterbury in 2019. They played at the Canterbury Festival in the UK, and we watched them live, so it was even better.
Well, thank you so much, Alan Donald. I wish you the very best over the holidays for sharing with us your song, your book, and your dish. Proteas legend and DP World Lions bowling coach. So as we move to a close on the show, I just want to say I'm going to be taking a little bit of time off over the next couple of weeks. Thank you so much for being my constant companion over 2025. So aware of all of you out there listening, contributing, checking what we say. The contributions you make to the show are absolutely invaluable. I hope that whatever you do over the holidays, you stay safe. You have a blessed and fulfilling time with the people that you are closest to. I'm John Perlman. Good night.
And now, The Money Show
with Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app
and DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Discover the latest trends shaping digital assets across Africa. Download the ABSA Africa Digital Assets Insights 2025. Good evening. On your Money Show tonight, MoneyWeb's editor Ryk van Niekerk on the FSCA's probe into claims of insider trading from the Mutton Foundation's purchase of the Curo Group. 91